guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see based on the title, today we're going to be talking about Marineford and whether I liked it or not. I know the first few videos I chose to make after Marineford were a little bit controversial. I mean, not really, I just shared my opinion. Some of you got triggered, some of you laughed your asses off, but regardless, the reason why I chose to make like hate videos about Garp and Marco and express my disdain for some of their behavior, right, and uselessness, aka Marco, it was because it was fresh, and I just, like, since it was fresh, I wanted to use that opportunity to, you know, share everything that was on my mind before I forget, okay? As for the whole arc of Marineford, I wanted to, you know, take my time for everything to settle down so I can actually express how impressed I am with this arc. Now, this is what you guys need to learn on my channel and generally about me. Just because I dislike a certain part of the character doesn't mean I hate that character. In particular here, Garp, I think he's a legendary character. I really like his character. Even before, when he first appeared, when, you know, the big reveals about the family, about who Garp is, I loved Garp. It's just this particular side of him where he's a shitty grandpa that I didn't find, you know, based on my morals and just how I thought the show should have went, in my opinion. And guys, just the fact that I'm this invested shows you that I'm loving this show. I haven't been this invested since Bleach and Naruto, like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, and I haven't been this controversial ever since the Itachi saga slaughtering his whole clan. Hey, I was the first one to say, yo, screw that guy, and everybody was on my ass back then too. So you should have learned back then that I'm not gonna pamper you guys just because I know the overwhelming majority goes for a certain character and licks his boots, right? Hell no, if I have something to say, I will say it. And that's why I chose to say what I said about Garp, about Marco, and I still think I was being fair, even generous with Marco, because my man was... I'ma stop. Of course, I see the comments, oh, I hope the hate stops. It will. It will decline. When the show itself stops talking about it, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna move on, okay? It's all good, guys. I'm not hating the show. The show is amazing, right? Especially Marineford. Now we're gonna talk about this arc in particular because I think this arc, honestly, is definitely in the conversation between one of the best arcs I've seen throughout the shows I've watched, including Pain arc. Hey, and that's saying something, right? Because this arc, it lacks some things. Like, I think the pacing in certain moments were a bit, you know, interesting to say the least, because, you know, you can literally see Akainu, Aokiji. Well, Akainu was kicking ass. I'm not gonna take anything away from him, but Aokiji Kizaru was just like being somewhere over there, like not doing shit, like you can see. But that's because it's not just a pacing issue. It's very impressive how Marineford gathered all these amazing characters in one place, and it's not easy to coordinate every single aspect of every single character at the same time on this huge battlefield without it having some pacing issues or some you know, glimpses and holes in the story. Because you see one fight, like the camera pans to one fight, and then, like, after a certain number of episodes, it pans to another fight. Now, in our minds, that's supposed to be happening simultaneously, those fights. And, you know, but because the show focuses on a singular fight first, then a second fight later, you think, like, the animals are just standing around watching this fight, but actually it's all happening at once. And I actually think this show did a pretty good job juggling so many characters, so many personalities, so many things happening at once, so many strategies on both sides, pirates and marines. So I really wanted to give Oda props for that. And one more thing, which is amazing in this show and in this arc specifically, because Oda and Impel Down introduced so many diverse characters. I don't know when this arc came out, but I think it was definitely before all this wokeness hit Hollywood and they started ruining every movie, just inserting dumb shit, right? Like woke shit, like, you know, gay shit, right? It's forced. Stop doing it. You're ruining shows. I'm not saying it doesn't have a place in media, it doesn't have a place in movies, but there's a time and a place. Don't force feed us this shit in every other scene, right? Like in The Boys, like I know that's a parody, maybe a bad example, like the series, because it's a parody on everybody. But Frenchie was supposed to be with Kimiko right away, and then they forced fed us a gay relationship that he was in before he got with her. What the hell is that? But I guess that's a bad example because it's just trolling on everything, right? But it's an example. But Oda did it, right? Because this shit came out all those years ago, I'm assuming, and my man has every single diverse group that you can think of, and he did it well. And that's a major W because I had no problem with it at all. I enjoyed it. I love Ivankov, bro. My man weird as hell, but I'm enjoying the hell out of his character. He's a gag character and a serious character when he wants to be. A deep character, many layered character, and not only him, like so many other characters that would be considered weird by me in general if I saw him in real life, but in fiction, and it was well done. It was tastefully done. Even the jokes, I just loved it, and I have no problem with it. And that is why I have to give him a huge W on that. Like the diverse cast of this war was amazing. You have giants, you have like every single thing, like you have dead people, zombies, LGBT, everything, bro. Everything that you can think of was in this war, which is very, very impressive to do the right way. And he did it, because he did it without force feeding us. There was like a whole arc beforehand. It made sense how they got there, impelled down, busted out, right, Ivankov's ability, very, very interesting. Now, that's another thing. The way he connected Impel Down to Marineford, and not just Luffy, Crocodile, Ivankov, like half the prison joined this war. And half this prison, aka Crocodile, Jinbei, the MVP of this arc, did so much. And I couldn't predict that. Like, this arc in general was very unpredictable, which is another amazing part that I loved about this arc, is that I couldn't predict shit. Yeah, and not only that, it triggered the hell out of me emotionally. So that's impressive, man. The only shows that could do that were Naruto most of the time, Bleach some of the times, and this show. And of course Dragon Ball, but I haven't watched that with you, and I haven't watched that in a long time, so I might revisit it one day on the channel, because I grew up watching that. But, I just want to watch it from the beginning to the end. I'm not even sure I watched all the episodes because it was airing on TV when I was younger, right? But yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I really loved that show. So that's also like nostalgic and emotional for me. But these shows definitely are the big three, like One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto. But especially Naruto and One Piece, because they can really pull on those emotional strings and they can do it the right way. I'm not saying Bleach doesn't, but it does it way less. It's more action with Bleach. But these two shows, Naruto and One Piece, you have everything. And I'm not gonna lie, when I started the show, I did think the animation was a little bit goofy, but my mods warned me about that, so I was kind of, but it grew on me. I have no problem, and it was rather quickly that it happened. I have no problem. I don't even notice the animation anymore. I'm so invested in the story, and the story is so good. It just gradually builds. It just builds up, man. It's amazing. But back to Marineford. The problem I had with, Marco, Whitebeard, they built them up so much, man. Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world. You can't tell me a strongest man in the world and then tell me I can't have expectations of him. That's why in the early episodes of Marineford, I did call Whitebeard useless a few times too, because I was expecting way more from him. In the end, he redeemed himself, right? And they explained the whole thing a bit about him being sick, and still, my man was cracking the universe left and right, broken strong. But the way they just, Whitebeard, the strongest emperor, like the strongest man in the world. You can't tell me he's the strongest man in the world. And then the first 15 episodes, my man was not doing anything. But he was preserving his energy, right? He even got stabbed by Scrub! Crazy work. But I'm not getting over that. But the overall arc was amazing. And just the characters, like Whitebeard is an amazing character. The way he went out, this is not scripted, so I'm just going left and right, up and down, like I'm all over the place. I'm not going chronologically how it happened, but yeah, like the way, first of all, the way they got into Marineford, just they coded their boats and they went like down underwater and they just popped back up. The complete element of surprise, even though they knew they were expecting them to come, it was a G move, right? Then Whitebeard just appearing all badass, like Sengoku. You can really see from the beginning he had much respect for Whitebeard, but respect doesn't mean fear. My man was still ready for him, and you can see Whitebeard also had respect for Sengoku. He recognized him as one of the strongest in Marineford, a very wise man with a lot of experience. Let's not forget, Garp and Sengoku were praised to be the ones that were after Roger's ass all the time, man. Right? So Sengoku being the fleet admiral, of course he's gonna garnish respect from the man like Whitebeard, right? Then there's Marco, the first, like, right? The first in command after Whitebeard, man. Marco, I was expecting so much more from him, and he has a broken-ass Logia. They did him dirty. Honestly, I think, yeah, Oda did him dirty. They kind of had to nerf him, because, you know, I think he should be on the level of an Admiral, man. Because I'm comparing Marco to literally Rayleigh. And Rayleigh, yo, he was going toe-to-toe with Kizaru, and this is old-ass Rayleigh. Not a prime-ass Rayleigh, right? So that's why I had so much faith in Marco, and they did it well, man. The first time they showed us his ability, he went toe-to-toe with Kizaru. My man was, you know, he was confident. My man was like, hey, yo, I'ma whoop your ass, man. Yo, Kizaru was like, ooh, right? He even kicked him down, like, my man, but Kizaru was trolling him. I think, like the issue I had with Marco was Oda just sabotaging him, because I do think Marco could have done way better. They just had so many characters, so many things, plots happening at once, that they couldn't let all the characters shine at the same time. It just, maybe it was the budget, maybe it was just the pacing. They didn't want this arc to last like 300 episodes, because that's how much the cast was, like, how big it was. You had so many people that you needed to focus the camera on, like the 7 warlords, Doflamingo. My man did some things, but I wanted to see more from him, because I still don't know what that guy's power is. I still don't know what that guy's problem is, but my man is vicious. Okay? We had Moria, we have Mihawk. Yeah, they dedicated a few episodes on Mihawk attacking Whitebeard, being stopped by that guy Jozu. Then my man going after Luffy's ass. Then everybody banging together to just, you know? So yeah, Whitebeard attacking Marineford, coming there and just badass, like in a badass way, declaring, you better have not touched my son. That gave, like, that brought chills down my spine. It was just so many epic moments. I love epic moments. I love hype moments. They did it right. The hype, like, the show was amazing. Like, I'm telling you, the diverse cast is just, that alone is so impressive that this show is definitely on par with Pain Arc. Sure, it has some issues, but Pain Arc had some issues too, right? So, I mean, you know, Pain Arc was definitely a masterpiece. But if you ask some fans, they didn't like the Tendo Pain versus Chinchuriki Naruto, the 7 tails, right? 8 tails, 9 tails, when he, you know, turned into, like, the animation was like fluid, which I get. I have no problem with it, but a lot of people were complaining, calling it dog shit. So it's not like Pain Arc is just like no flaws, like similar to Marineford, but like 95% of the arc was just peak, freaking peak, man. You know, Oars, just Whitebeard commanding such a large army, by the way. It's not just like one ship. He has commanders, but he also has allies. I loved that as well. The deep connections, the bonds, the reveals, the revelations. It was just so, like, the foreshadowing, the backstories, the connections, the way they explain things. Just so impressive, man. Just so impressive. And they even implemented tactics on both sides. You know, Sengoku trying to box him in with the walls of ice, and then Akainu raining down hellfire on them. And then, you know, everybody else using oars to get over the wall. And, you know, it just, both sides had tactics. It wasn't just brute strength. It all had a good feeling around it, you know? I just enjoyed it so much. And then the whole army doing its best, trying to attack left and right. And you think, oh, this is the moment. Nope. This is the moment. Nope. Right? And then Luffy just out of nowhere, like falling down from the sky, which is not a great moment of that Garp himself shared with Ace. And I was ready to give all props to Garp back then. Go back, watch my reaction when Garp was just beaten down, man. My man said, man, I can't help you, man. Ace was just chained down, and he was walking over to him, and he sat down next to him. And I was completely ready to accept that. Like, my man's not gonna intervene, but the best thing he can do right now is sit there and be with him in his last moments. And I would have respected the hell out of that, man. If my man just stayed there right next to Ace, well, not holding his hand, but just being there, you know? Not saying shit, because there was not much to say, man. And Ace understood that, by the way. I see you guys in the comments. Ace and Luffy would never, you know, be mad at Garp for not helping them. I understand, they were raised that way. That doesn't mean I follow those values, man. I can tell he's a shitty grandpa if they wouldn't. Because they don't know what a good grandpa is, because they had a shitty one. But regardless, That moment was so nice. And the way Oda, yo, that made me tear up. I remember, man. I was so emotional because I understood it. It was so well done. Just him sitting next to him. Even Sengoku understood, man. Didn't say shit. He was sitting there in silence next to Ace, kind of saying, yo, I got your back, man. I'm gonna be here in your last moments. I can't help you. I can't say anything that's gonna, make it feel better, but I can be here for you. And I respected the hell out of that, man. I respected the hell out of that. And then the way Oda broke that tension and made me go from tears to joy was with Luffy falling from the sky, bro. His goofy ass just appearing out of nowhere, man. You can't tell me that's not peak. That was peak writing, and I go back. I said it. I praised it. Well done, Oda. Amazing moment. Emotional moment. Amazing tension breaker. Just amazing way to end the episode, right? And from that moment on, Luffy definitely stole the show. Just befriending Whitebeard right away. My man declaring himself the new, that he's gonna become the new Pirate King, standing tall right next to Whitebeard. Everybody's like, who is this twerp, right? My man just said, I'm here. I don't care. I am here. My man took the page from All Might's book. I am here, bitch. I'm the next Pirate King. Who the hell is this geezer, right? My man was treating him as an equal. All the while Buggy being a comedic relief and not believing his eyes what this mother effer's doing, because he would never have the cojones to do that. Cojones are balls, by the way. But Luffy just stole the show. And you can see right away in standing next to Whitebeard. Like, mentally, he was there. He was, like, on par with Whitebeard. But physically, strength-wise, he was not there, man. And Whitebeard understood that, like, right away. He said, yo, I admire your passion. I understand you're Ace's brother. But he's my family, too. Squirt, if you get in my way, I will not hesitate to nuke you. And Luffy said, bet! Let's save my brother, right? And then, quickly he took over the battlefield. And as he was running and battling these people, yeah, sure, he smacked around a couple of nobodies, father characters. But every time a vice admiral faced him or somebody else had to save him. Somebody else had to save him. And I also love that they emphasized that fact. They emphasized Luffy was not ready for this war. He was here strictly because of his brother, and he did not care. Like, they emphasized that in Impel Down. My man was crazy enough to bust into Impel Down. My man did not care. My man said, that's my brother, I'm willing to die for him, and nobody's gonna tell me otherwise, right? He left his heart on that battlefield. Mihawk saw it. He wanted to test him. As soon as he saw the power of Luffy being able to band everybody together to try and save him, Whitebeard giving commands to everybody to band behind Luffy, because he recognized that my man is boosting morale, even though he's not the strongest on the battlefield, which should have been Marco. My man's stuck in the handcuffs, right? He still said, back then he wasn't yet stuck, right? So even Marco, he said, yo, protect that kid, man, because we need that kid. We need that morale. We need that energy on this battlefield. Also, another little point that I loved about this arc is because constantly morale shifted from Marines to Pirates. Like, who had the upper hand and who was the one that broke the tension, right? Who was the one that brought their side up, right? Luffy did it multiple times on the Pirate side, but Garp did it once on the Marine side. It was enough. My man smacking the hell out of Marco, man. Marco said, hey, bet, I'ma show off my abilities. Flew over everybody, and then Garp did not stay sitting next to Ace, man. He broke that trust I had in him, that he was just gonna sit there and not do anything. And he smacked him. He smacked the hell out of him, man. And then he went to the Admiral's chair, sat in the main one, and gave that speech. If you want him, you're gonna have to go through me. And then all the Marines, you can see the morale boost. Everybody was like, hell yeah! So he directly contributed into killing Ace, which is insane, right? And even Sengoku acknowledged, what the hell? I was not expecting you to act, because even he understood how controversial that was, how hard that was for Garp. I'm not saying Garp is heartless, but the fact that he just chose his job over, and nobody even gave him the pat on the back for that. Nobody said shit, right? He did all that, man. He did all that. Watch both his grandsons potentially die right in front of him. Nobody did shit. I understand that's your duty. That's your duty. That's a soldier's duty, to be stealth mode, right? To be poker face, to be a man. But man, hell no. No job over family. I'm sorry. My values do not allow me, right, to just even say that. But regardless, it was still an epic moment. Garp showed off his balls why he's the hero of the Marines, of the Navy, and everybody respected him for it, right? And he gave him the morale boost that they needed. They sprinkled in there like warlords doing their stuff here and there. Then they were trying to execute Ace multiple times. Luffy stopped it once with his hockey activation, which was another epic moment. Another shocking revelation that everybody was like, what the hell? Everybody like passed out. Like Vice Admiral, well, I guess Smoker didn't pass out either, right? What was he? I forgot his rank. He's a Commodore or something. It doesn't matter. He didn't pass out. Like strong characters didn't pass out, but they were all shocked. Even Kizaru was like, ooh. I love doing that. But yeah, that was an epic moment. Luffy stopped that execution. The second execution was stopped by none other than Crocodile. Crocodile, the MVP, man. Crocodile, Jinbei, just masterclass in just being relentlessly heroic, right? And in the end, Luffy broke through, and with the help of Mr. Free and a little bit of plot armor, right, they released Ace. Kizaru tried to stop it by breaking the key, but Mr. Free, you know, created another key. Sengoku didn't do shit. He turned into a giant golden Buddha and destroyed the whole, right? He destroyed the whole platform that they were standing on, which I think aided Ace. He didn't do anything. Like Sengoku is probably strong, considered strong, you know, because even Blackbeard gave him credit, but my man just, you know, didn't do much to stop Luffy from letting Ace out. And then at that point, I was really invested. I was really like, yo, hell yes, we did it. I knew we were gonna do it. I really did think Ace, there's no way Ace was gonna die. Hell from Alabasta survived that explosion, bro. You're telling me, hell no. Until that moment, I was really utterly convinced nobody dies in One Piece. But Oda spanked the hell out of me, bro. Pause. Crazy work. My man just, you know, and then Akainu just became relentless. My man said, hell no, I'm gonna let you escape. And he just started pursuing them. And at that point, yeah, I also loved how they really emphasized how much exhausted Luffy was. Because let's not forget, he did not stop from Impel Down. And even back then, the only reason he survived was because Ivanko gave him the injections twice to get him pumped up enough to make it to Marineford. Then he fought the whole war, you know, like he gave it his all, died almost multiple times. And yes, it makes sense that in the end he was so depleted that he couldn't even run from Akainu's attack, right? And then Ace had to step in, save his brother, and forfeit his life. But we're not just gonna skip over the fact that Ace stopped running away completely because of a dad joke, turned around and started combating this mother effer Akainu, who's 20 million times stronger than him, thus putting himself, Luffy, and everybody else that came here risked their lives to save him, and then died. So that was I think dumb writing. I guess I can't really call Oda dumb because my man just created a masterclass of an arc with Marineford. But I don't know, man, that just seemed forced. How the hell you, like, there's no way, Ace. Why would you, like, even if he was impulsive, even if he is that sort of character, they even compare him to Roger in many ways, because like that's the most common Roger trait. Apparently, he never ran away. But regardless, man, all these people, while he was chained up, this whole war, he was crying about people dying for him. He didn't want these people that he loves to die for him, or everybody left and right. And then the first thing he does is put all of them in danger by going back to fight Akainu, somebody he knows he has no shot at defeating. That's just dumb. Like, you can't argue that's not dumb. That's insanely stupid. And then he dies, right? So just for that, he doesn't deserve Garp saving him. But it still doesn't justify Garp not doing shit, because at that moment he wasn't doing shit, right? The moment where Luffy was running up the platform, right, that Ivanko's right-hand man from the Revolutionary Army, by the way, created with his scissor hands. Like, he was running upwards, Garp, all that also pissed me off. But Garp, again, I buried the hatchet when Garp pretended to be knocked out by Luffy, right? That was the right thing to do. I was like, hey, great, Garp, great, thank you. But then later we saw him next to Sengoku because Blackbeard appeared. My man was fine, my man was there, and then Sengoku took over threatening Blackbeard, so Garp wasn't doing anything at the time. He could have helped, he just didn't, right? And I do feel he could have. I still do. Like, he could have just grabbed Ace and Luffy and dipped. I'm not saying fight everybody, just dip, run away while everybody else covers for you. He could have definitely done that and then gone and joined his son. Like, Dragon establishing a revolutionary army gave a choice to every Marine soldier out there. There's a place for you. There's a place for you to fight the corrupt government that you're working for, that you're licking the boots out of. And that's why I understand every Marine can just lay down their arms and go for the right side. I understand the basic Marines are probably brainwashed, like Kobe. He doesn't really know how deep the corruption goes. But somebody like Garp definitely knows. And he still chooses to stay here, and yet he hasn't changed anything in 70 years of his life. So I just don't understand that. He's still servicing the Celestial Dragons, maybe not directly, but he's still obeying their orders, the government's orders and all that. So I have a problem with that. But I still think he's a badass character. I'm still probably gonna love him in the future. I just had to point out this flaw and what pissed me off in this particular arc. But I'm not invalidating the whole arc. Like I said, 95% of this arc is peak. Hell, I would argue even the fact that they pissed me off so much with Garp and his decision, which is a controversial decision, by the way. We can definitely discuss it and debate it, because I can't understand the other side as well. His duty and all that, right? His duty outweighing his parental rights, and him thinking like they chose the pirate life, they need to face repercussions. But it goes way deeper than that. I'm not gonna bore you with the details, maybe in a separate video. So I can understand that as well. So I would argue that pissing me off so much and enraging me just proves how invested I am into this show and this arc. I really am. Like, they are pulling on my emotional strings. I'm lashing out. I'm getting rage baited left and right, and that just shows how much I'm enjoying this show. Same happened in Naruto with Itachi, and you know. So yeah, guys, it's not controversial. I'm just enjoying the show and speaking my mind, bro. I'm not just gonna say what you want me to say. I'm gonna say what I feel. We can discuss it and debate it, and you know, what comes from it comes from it. But like I said, Ace dies. Then Akainu starts pursuing Luffy, by the way. Garp still doesn't do anything. And then Jinbei is what the hell, Jinbei? Jinbei just... Yo, I don't know, this man hates himself or he doesn't have anybody that loves him, but my man just said, fuck my life, man. Let me save this kid. Because of a 20-minute conversation he had with Ace in a prison cell. I mean, okay, it was more than 20 minutes. They were stuck in the same cell, but still, that's crazy. My man took like multiple Akainu fists through the chest to protect this kid, and even then Luffy took damage. Then Law appears out of nowhere and you know, gets Buggy to toss him Luffy and Jinbei, and they run out into the sunset. Aokiji and Kizaru both, you know, use their ultimate attacks to try and kill them. One uses their ice wall or whatever to freeze the whole freaking sea. And then Kizaru lightning blasts and all that, and they somehow evade all that plot, and they just run away and survive somehow, right? AKA Law is a legend for that, right? But that also caught me off guard. That was masterfully done. Then Whitebeard goes and does the most insane epic ending to a character that I've ever seen. We gotta talk about that too, man. I'm gonna make a separate video about that, but it was just amazing. Like, Whitebeard just standing tall after taking all that nuclear power, bruh. Like, Blackbeard pirate just fired every single bullet in their arsenal, bazookas, everything. My man was still like, are you done? Now let me speak my mind before I die. And my man died standing, and then they revealed he doesn't have a single scratch on his back. He never ran away. My man's a legend. Like, Whitebeard just, yo, peak character. Like, my man is just, he redeemed himself. In the end, it was just, yeah, they proved he's the strongest man in the world. Not many could have died like that. Not many could have taken so many blows, protected his crew while they were running away. Just, yo, it was just that they emphasized he was already sick, right? He took a stab through the chest by Scrub, right? Then multiple Akainu hits through the chest again. He took like over 200 bullets, stab wounds, everything, cannons, left and right, fought everybody in Marineford, and still he went out on his own merit. My man said, yo, you mother effer's gonna listen to me because the One Piece is real. Thus, again, reflaming the flame in every pirate alive. just like Roger did all those years back. And that sent Sengoku back to the Stone Age, man, because my man really dug them in with that one. Because he reinvigorated the flame that the pirates were starting to lose, because it's been a lot of years nobody found One Piece, right? And now they were like, yo, so it is real. And then they got even more bold, the pirates, I mean. So that was another epic moment. So many reveals about the dragon being Luffy's father, but, you know, Roger being Ace's father, about a lot of other things too. Whitebeard just talked about a war that's coming, if I'm not mistaken, or was that Blackbeard? Like, it's gonna be the war of the world, I believe he was mentioning, or something crazy like that. So many foreshadowing moments, so many little intricacies in this one arc. I cannot even follow like so many things happened. So many good speeches, so many, you know, it was just amazing. It just was. Then Whitebeard dies, Blackbeard takes his Delphi, becomes the new strongest man on the planet, and he's like, I'm gonna sink Marineford. Sengoku just gets pissed, says, yo, this needs to stay up, there's no way I'm gonna allow you to like sink Marineford, because this is a symbol for everybody that we're gonna keep them safe, thus proving Sengoku still thinks and cares about civilians, similar to Garp, right? That's their whole shtick. They're not completely corrupt, and it's the higher-ups that give them orders that they have to follow that might be corrupt. So a lot happened, and then Blackbeard still didn't back off. He gave him respect, but he was still about to, you know, go to war with everybody, and then Shanks appears. Oh, and let's not forget Kobe, the epic ballsy moment that Kobe had in front of Akainu, and that bitch-ass Akainu wanting to kill him, to smite him, because Kobe had a point. Also, that moment, he himself activated his hockey. They just mentioned that on Patreon, right? I'm a little ahead. So that was his hockey activation. So Kobe's definitely gonna become stronger and stronger and stronger. They're creating him, and he's being trained by Garp. So I kind of love all those details. But yeah, Kobe had an epic moment, screaming and shouting, like, stop killing people. We already won. Let's tend to the wounded. Like, before we're done, all the wounded on our side are gonna die. What's the point? We're just meaningless casualties, right? And you can see Garp was, is that Kobe? Shut your ass up, man. You didn't care about your kin, you're gonna care about Kobe? That pissed me off. But, you know, Akainu was about to fry his ass, and then Shanks appeared and stopped him. That was epic. That was, what the hell? What the hell? Right? I thought Shanks was fighting Kaido in the New World, by the way. How the hell did he come here? I mean, I guess, like, there was multiple days, so he had time, but regardless, Shanks arrived with his crew and stopped the war, which was amazing. Like, it was just, what? Everybody gave him props. Everybody was like, oh, we're now ready to fight them, right? Then that guy, Ben Beckman, whatever his name is, like literally stared down Kizaru. Kizaru said, ooh! My man did not want that smoke. And yeah, the rest was history. And Shanks even respectfully asked Sengoku to take Ace's and Whitebeard's bodies. Sengoku agreed and then declared the war was over. So much happened. Peak arc, peak development, peak characters, peak action, peak everything. Writing, just amazing. Like I said, there were some pacing issues, but they were minor. Yes, I noticed them, but minor, like I said. And yes, I complained about Garp and his decision not to help Ace, Luffy, all that. But that was just subjective on my part. Like, I just had to point it out. But like I said, I don't hate Garp. I still think he's a cool character. He has hella potential. Actually, them killing Ace might fuel him in the future to go against the government, maybe join Dragon, maybe become like a new symbol, a symbol of resistance. Maybe I don't know, maybe he's gonna do something to redeem himself. I don't know what that could possibly be, but you know, something. Regardless, like I said, still a great character. So many great I hate Akainu too, which I can't really, like, he's still a great character because I hate him. He's such a scumbag that I hate him, and that's good. Because anytime you watch a show and an actor does the job so well, you hate that person, like Joffrey from Game of Thrones, you kind of have to give credit to that actor, like, yo, well played, you know, like, hey, I wasn't familiar with your game. So, you know, Akainu, certified G, even though I hate his ass, right? So yeah, the whole arc, I can talk for over an hour about this, but I'm gonna wrap it up because I have to sleep. But yeah, tell me your thoughts in the comments. I would rate this arc definitely near a 10. It wasn't perfect. I would give it like 9.34, right? And I don't know whether, like, on certain stuff I would still give it to the Pain arc, like the Pain arc being slightly better. But on certain stuff like diversity, this, that, and third, Marineford did it better. So I don't know. Tell me in the comments, which arc do you think was better, Marineford or Pain arc? But maybe another video about that. Strictly speaking about Marineford, Peak arc, definitely the best arc so far in the show. I liked Impel Down too, but there were definitely some underrated arcs before that. Water 7, Peak, like, and many, even the introductory arcs of this show, where we got to meet Nami, Usopp, their backstories, how they met, all that, like the epic moment with the hat Nami and Luffy shared, just peak, bruh. This show is peak. It got me invested. I'm very invested in the show. That's why I'm emotional sometimes. That's why I rage out. Doesn't mean I don't like the show, because some of you are just idiots that can't distinguish between me enjoying and loving the show, which is why I'm so invested, and me just being a hater. If I was a hater, I wouldn't watch it. Like, I would just stop. There are plenty other shows I can watch, you know, so I'm not gonna waste my time, considering this is a hobby for me, to just watch anything. So, guys, relax. The show is peak, and obviously this arc was very good. I would, like I said, 9.4 out of 10. It's a solid score. I really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to see where this show goes after this. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you today. Feel free to share, subscribe, all that, you know, enjoy the Patreon, support your boy. We have channel memberships now, so yeah, if you want to support. If not, comment, like, if you don't want to do that either, so just drop a dislike, I guess. Anyway, that's it for today. Until next time.
Shut up! You don't even know me!